Welcome to Curtain Call with Cosmo and Pauline, Episode 3, the Holiday Special.
This is the holiday special. Could you tell? Is there
Yeah.
any way you could tell? I guess you have to see us in order to know.
Yeah,
We're
that's
both
true.
wearing Santa hats
Mm-hmm.
and little necklaces that
Yep,
light Christmas
that light
lights.
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, woohoo! Let's see yours, Cosmo.
All right, well,
He's lighting
mine
up
doesn't
his.
really show up for here, but I'll do
You
this
got
feature that I have on here. Let's
you
see.
got hats
There we
and
go.
lights in your hats.
There we go. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna turn those off so they don't bother us.
Festive.
So Christmas.
Yeah,
That means it's December. I can't believe it.
I know.
How was your November?
It was really good. Thank you, Pauline. I had a lot of fun. I've been keeping busy with a lot of projects, and although I have been very busy, I had to, like you did last time, go back and look at my calendar to see what I've been up to. Yeah, so last month I started preparing for Christmas, which is my favorite holiday, just so festive and everything. And I also had a great Thanksgiving filled with lots of really good food, as
Good.
usual, including turkey, one of my favorites. And I had a Some Good News Northfield episode about Thanksgiving.
Saw it, loved it.
Oh, thank you, Pauline. And so that was a lot of fun to put together, and now I'm putting together a Christmas special where I'll be interviewing Santa, so more details will come up on that
Wow,
later.
that's exciting. How'd you get that interview? That's a big
I
one.
had to pull some strings. I have a buddy who works up at the North Pole, asked him if he could talk to the big man, so
That's great.
yeah.
Congratulations on getting that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I've also been doing some activities to what I like to say feed my soul, such as writing some scripts and such. I'm writing the 4th episode on the Adventures of Stardust series, which that series you directed and worked with me on.
Excited to see that.
Yes. And I am also working on my sitcom Quarantine, which I mentioned in the first episode. That is what
So,
I've been up to.
so when you say it's in your head, are you taking it from your head and putting on paper now?
Yeah,
Awesome.
well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I always wish that there was a device that could just take my thoughts and pour it out onto paper so that I don't have to do the extra work.
I would love that.
I
That
know.
would be a
I know.
great. Okay, we could start working on that.
Yeah. And one other thing I've been up to is I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I've been watching The Mandalorian.
And do you like it?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
Good.
So,
Good.
yeah. Now for what you've done this past month, Pauline.
I did not have to look back in my calendar at all for November because I had COVID. And speaking of which, go ahead, you can interview me for your show. There were some funny things, but that I can relate, but not too much.
Sure.
Mostly it was on my couch. I watched a lot of TV. I didn't get terribly sick, but things just kind of dragged out for so long, and the exhaustion that they talk about is real. I'm just getting my sense of taste back, which is kind of a bummer over Thanksgiving because I had a bunch of people, lots of people who love me, I tell you, out there, and that's so great to know, drop off Thanksgiving meals for me and Steve. So we had a lot of great food, not that we could taste very much of it, but we could taste, I can taste the salt and the sugar, which that's interesting.
Okay,
So
well, that's the best ingredient.
exactly. So I'm feeling much better, and I'm happy to be on the other side of it and start to get back into actually doing some work as opposed to just filing and going through CDs. I did do that. We have hundreds. So when you're a musician, you have work tapes for sets that you're putting together, for bands that you're putting together, learning new songs. And we had them from 30 years and had to go through them, and they're not well marked. So you have to listen to each one because it might be a live recording that you want to keep. So we went through that. We have 3 garbage bags filled with CDs, no covers, a couple covers, just CDs. That's how many we've thrown away. I know. So it's a huge project.
Yeah.
And if you're a musician, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better and that you'll actually be able to taste some food. And I was really bummed when I heard that you had COVID, but I'm glad that you're recovering and you were able to do this show. So
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you for being a trooper, Pauline. So
awesome.
All right, so what should we talk about next? Do you want to do theater news?
I'd love to do theater news
All
because
right.
people are looking for things to do because they can't
Mm-hmm.
go to the theater now
Right.
that the governor uh, shut that all down.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some exciting things. Should I go first?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I will. All right, let me look at this. So there is at the Paradise Center for the Performing Arts a show called Holiday Radio Theater. They didn't have the dates or the time set up. It's virtual, so you have to go to their website to find out more about it. But it sounds like a lot of fun.
Uh,
They were going to do it live, but then when the governor shut all that down again, they decided to do it virtual, and so you'll be able to see that, and it's like the old time radio shows from the 40s,
mhm.
30s, 40s, 50s. As so, go to paradisecenterforthearts.org to find out more about that. And please support the arts because boy, oh boy, do they need it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then also the same kind of thing, a radio show at Lakeville Area Arts Center. And that's December 18th at 7 p.m. And you need to buy tickets to watch the live virtual show. So it's just one night, it looks like. And you go to lakevilleareaartscenter.com for more information on that. And one more at the Burnsville Entertainment Center at the Ames Center. That's ames-center.com. There's Tonic Solfa and the Big Band Experience is doing a show called I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Oh,
And
awesome.
Tonic Solfa is an a cappella group. So, and they're putting this show together for the Ames Center. It's never been done before or seen before. And so if you want to see that, that's December 10th at 7:30. And again, they're live streaming that. And if you want more information, again, ames-center.com. So there's things going on, things you can
Yeah,
see, but not go to.
for
Just
sure.
watch via Zoom or via the interwebs thing
The magic of the
that we're
internet.
doing. What do you got for us, Cosmo?
Well, first of all, I want to say that that is some really great theater news. I'll be sure to check some of that out because they sound kind of holiday festive too, which I appreciate. But
Exactly.
so I dug into the Northfield Arts Guild again. That's my main source of local theater.
Yep.
And so you'll know that for the past 2 episodes, I've talked about Solos, a monologue writing and performing festival put on by the Guild. And so production for that started all the way back in summer. But on November 7th, it debuted on Northfield Public Broadcasting. And it was a great, great show.
It
But
was.
yes, did you see it, Pauline?
I did. I liked all the performances. It's
Yeah.
really great.
So thank you to the actors and the monologue authors, the directors, producer Brendan Eder, the executive directors. Everybody pitched in to help, and it turned out fantastic. But now moving forward, also coming up is a new Purple Door Youth Theater production. So yeah, exciting. And so Current Call's first guest, Rachel Hyder, heads up this fun and educational program that's basically theater for kids. You can hear more about Purple Door in our interview with Rachel. But anyway, Purple Door was planning to put on a production of The Hobbit, but since COVID is still around, they pushed that back to 2021, and instead they're doing a virtual production called The Importance of Being Earnest in a Pandemic. Clever, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and so that's a Project Purple Door production, and that means that usually it'll be a smaller cast and they'll travel around. Obviously, the traveling won't happen, but it'll be via online, via Zoom, whatever. And it sounds really fun. Kids in grades 7 through 12 can audition for it on Monday, December 14th from 4 o'clock p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And more details about that can be found on northfieldartsguild.org. And you can prepare a short monologue, but there's more details on the website, as I mentioned. But that's not all. I have quite a bit here. I'll try to
Wait a
sum it up.
second. I just have a question
Go
about
ahead.
that.
Yeah.
So adults can't audition. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
So I can't.
Purple Door is exclusively for kids.
All right.
So,
Okay, go ahead.
sorry, Pauline. It's just
It's okay. I'll
Just
talk
the
to
way,
Rachel
but
about it.
I'm sorry, but I've had experiences with Purple Door, and it's a really fun and educational program, like I said earlier. So
Exactly.
yeah,
That's
that's
good. All
great.
right. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes,
Go ahead now. Sorry, interrupted you.
no problem. So you might have heard that Tim Peterson, the executive director of the Northfield Arts Guild, is resigning for a new position in Maine, all
Right.
across the beautiful East Coast. So they're searching for a replacement right now, but starting on January 1st, Rachel Hyder will be the interim executive director until they find somebody to fill that gap permanently.
Perfect.
So perfect
Perfect.
choice. Yeah.
Yes.
But finally, to get in the holiday cheer, the Arts Guild is also planning their virtual winter walk. They will offer what they're calling a fun, free, and family-friendly lineup of online arts programming, from home arts activities to theater and dance performances. It'll premiere on the Guild's YouTube channel at 7 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, December 10th. It'll be sure to get you in the Christmas spirit. That's what I have.
Do you know what that gets? That gets one of these. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, right? Right.
Get
All
that
right,
thing
search for
turned on,
my.
Cosmo. All right. Well, you know what it's time for? It's time for to see or not to see. And
That's
I'd
right.
like to tell you about what I don't think you should see. But I'm going to turn this off first. There. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. So you might want to see this show. Maybe you have, because the acting lineup is so good. There's it's called Christmas with the Cranks, and it's got the guy
Oh,
with that oh, there goes my memory again.
sorry, Pauline. I remembered. It's
Dan, he's a funny guy from long
Dan
ago.
Aykroyd.
That's it. And
Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis. That's it.
Nice.
And
Yep.
the
Um,
Tim.
Tim Allen.
Yes. Thank
Yes.
you. Cosmo, I don't
There
know
you
what
are.
I'd do without you. Okay, so it's got these big stars that I couldn't remember the name of in it. So you'd think you'd want to watch it, but don't. Do not. It's not good. The performances are, I'm kind saying that they're lackluster. They're just not good. It's like they're phoning it in. You hear that?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what that term was made for, were these performances. They phoned it in. And then the theme of it is peer pressure till you conform. And I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't like that theme. And it's just like, it's almost anti-Christmas. It's like the time to reflect and be thankful and giving and family and all those things. It's not good. So do not see Christmas with the Cranks.
Do you
Don't
mind
even
if I
bother.
pitch in real quick for my
Yes,
thoughts on
please.
that? I have seen that every Christmas. It's not entirely offensive to me that you would say that. However, it does get you in the cheer. And that's what Christmas is all about. However, I think Rotten Tomatoes agrees with you, only 5% on there.
Totally 5%. So it's not just Rotten Tomatoes. It's across the board.
Yes. All right. I
Thumbs
can I
down.
can
But
I can respect that.
so go ahead and watch it because he liked it. Anyway,
Right.
I didn't. And so next one, what to see?
Mm.
Klaus. You seen it? With a K, Klaus. It's animated.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that. I haven't watched it though.
It's beautifully animated. It's
Mm-hmm.
just gorgeous. It's about the genesis of Santa, and the theme or the idea is that it's a postman that's desperate to get gifts out, and this forces Santa to be created. Maybe I'm saying too much, but I don't think so. That's a description everywhere you see it. It's gorgeous animation. It's funny. It's sweet. It's a little awkward, which I love. A little quirky, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
It's not obvious, and it wasn't originally done in the United States. It was done. It's a Spanish production, I believe, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
redone in the States. And I feel that it's going to become a classic. I really do. I just got all the themes that you need, and talk about getting into Christmas spirit. Lots of snow, lots of fun and holiday spirit. At least the second half, because you have to have the first half set up with the
Sure.
problem. So,
Hmm.
so Klaus is to see, definitely.
Awesome.
What do you have for us?
Well, Rotten Tomatoes agrees with you 94%.
That is right.
Nice. All right. So I'm going to start with my to see because I want to leave my not to see last.
Okay.
So to see, I have two things here. First of all, Bad Santa is to see. Not at all.
Okay.
I won't see that for another 30 years. But anyway, literally, Love Always Santa is just a suggestion that I thought I would make because
Okay.
that is a
I'm writing it
Hallmark
down.
film that, and you might hear that and think, oh gosh, Hallmark. But no, it was filmed in Northfield.
What?
And yes, it was filmed
That's
in,
the name of that movie that was filmed here?
yes, that's
I
right.
have been looking for that. Thank you.
Yes, and you can purchase it through the chamber. And who knows, maybe the Hallmark Channel will play it sometime this year, hopefully. But kind of an interesting story because they were looking for extras. And so my mom, dad, and I went there to the scene. This was being filmed in Bridge Square, I believe, and we were able to be extras right behind the two leading men. Well, one was a leading man, one was a supporting person, and we couldn't really tell if we made it into the shot or not. You can maybe see a little bit of my mom's coat, but but it was, oh, we had to be troopers because it was like below zero weather and we had to stay out there for like 2 hours. I was basically a giant ice cube by the time we got home. So, but just,
Cosmo, I
yeah.
was there. I
What?
was there. I was there. I wasn't right on Bridge Square.
Huh?
Steve and I, we happened to be downtown. We're like, what's going on?
Uh-huh.
And then they were wanting people to walk across the street just from like Rare
Mm-hmm.
Pair, I think, over,
Sure.
we had to do it like a bunch of times. So we
Mm-hmm.
weren't by the leads at all. We weren't even over by in Bridge Square. We just kept crossing the street when they would
Mm-hmm.
ask us to. So I was there that same day.
Oh my gosh. What are
What are
the
the odds?
coincidences with the odds? Wow. But my that was just a suggestion, but my actual to see are any of the Christmas themed episodes of The Office. So I wanted to kind of do a little something different, not just a movie, not just a TV show, but certain episodes of um, a TV show. So The Office, I mean, if you haven't heard of it by now, it's growing in its popularity,
I get it.
and but its Christmas episodes are so much fun. There's I want to say seven. Season two's Christmas Party, Season three's A Benihana Christmas, Season five's Moroccan Christmas, Season six's Secret Santa, Season seven's Classy Christmas, Season eight's Christmas Wishes, and finally Season nine's Dwight Christmas. And all of them are really great. My favorite is Classy Christmas, but that might just be me. So check it out on Netflix, even though The Office is leaving Netflix on January 1st to go
Oh
to
my.
Peacock. So, but
You know
that,
what? I want to step in there and just
yeah.
say Christmas is our tradition. We both grew up with that tradition.
Hmm.
And I'd like to say happy holidays to those people who didn't have Christmas as their tradition. So
Yeah,
happy holidays, however you celebrate it and whatever your tradition is
that's right.
over this time of year. So I just want to put that in
Perfect.
there.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Pauline.
you're welcome.
And my not to see, I just finished watching this about half an hour ago. Because I saw it on this list and I knew I had to watch it so that I could destroy it. The Star Wars Holiday Special.
There's such a thing as
Oh
that?
gosh, Pauline, I'm grateful that you do not know because here's just a little bit of the story. So in 1978, 1 year after the original Star Wars was released, they did a Star Wars Holiday Special that aired on CBS, and I literally have no words.
Well, what did they do? Did they just sit around and talk about Christmas or what?
So basically, they're um they're celebrating Life Day, which is the Star Wars equivalent of Christmas or any other holiday. And so basically, Chewbacca and Han Solo are trying to get to Chewbacca's home planet to celebrate Life Day with Chewbacca's family. But I I'm I'm legitimately struggling right now because there's just so much bad about it. Even George Lucas, who he's the creator of Star Wars, so his job is to kind of defend this. He said he wants to track down every copy of it and smash it with a sledgehammer.
Well, there you
And
have it.
I have to agree with him because it's not Star Wars. It has all these weird musical cameos and big stars at the time like Harvey Korman and B. MacArthur. But Star Wars isn't meant for like the leading lady of Golden Girls, not like the leading man of the Carol Burnett show, because it's not big celebrities. It's like little celebrities, like Oscar Isaac from that X-Men movie. Not, you know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
it
just
doesn't make sense.
it just please don't watch it. Star Wars Holiday Special is not to see. I could keep going on, but we're
I
out
think
of
we
time.
have the point. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And to see is Klaus with the K. It's an animated show, and
Love Always Santa and any Christmas themed episode of The Office.
awesome. And what not to see, according to me, not necessarily Cosmo, is Christmas with the Cranks, and not to see.
Star Wars Holiday Special. I traumatized myself today.
Okay, I am never, ever, ever going to watch that. Thank you for warning me off, because I'm a Star Wars fan, and I might have just done that.
But now it is time to get our guest in here. Who is it, Pauline?
Drum roll. All right, Mark Robinson. Woo! Hi.
Yes, Mark is such a great director. I'm very excited to talk to him about some of his experiences as both a director and an actor.
That's right. I am too. What I love about Mark is his vision. He always does something different and interesting with the
Yeah.
show. You don't know what to exactly expect. Like when I went to Death of a Salesman and walked in, and the beds were painted on the walls, and the people in the beds were standing on the ground. You know, like here's the bed, and they're standing in there because they're in bed. And who the heck would think of that? What a great idea. And then Odyssey. Did you see Odyssey?
Yes, I did. I saw it twice in the theater.
And
It was surreal because it was just like an action-packed film, but on stage. It's like something you would see on Broadway. There was this big Cyclops monster, and the
exactly.
costumes and the props were amazing.
They were. He's got such a unique vision, and I think that he partially attributes that to his study of Russian theater, because that's what he teaches
Right.
over at St. Olaf.
That's right. And it's really funny because Death of a Salesman he directed in 2017. Then just in February he directed Lend Me a Tenor, which I was able to shadow him for. He's a great director. And they are just so different. Lend Me a Tenor is this farcical, hilarious comedy of mix-ups. And Death of a Salesman, you can already tell what it is by the title. He just, whatever he does, he excels at it.
He does. We're lucky to have him. Let's welcome Mark Robinson.
Woo! Hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hey there, welcome.
Happy
Welcome
holidays.
to you too. And look, Cosmo, he showed up with a hat. Did you tell him to put on his hat?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you are a
It's the
slick
season.
one.
Yep,
Tis the
that's right.
season.
Well, I am excited to ask you some questions about your theatrical journey because, like our past two guests, you're kind of a local celebrity, Northfield, Faribault, all around. So, and I've had the pleasure of working with you, so I know firsthand how great of a director you are. So,
Thank
When
you.
we set this up about talking about how versatile you are and how your vision is so interesting and unique as a director, and how we just appreciate that so much. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
So my first question is one that I ask all of our guests. What is your first memory on stage, or rather in the director's chair? Either one.
Well, those are two completely different things. My first memory on stage is, I think, in middle school when we were doing A Christmas Carol, and I played Fezziwig, and I got the chicken pox. So I didn't get to do a thing except for maybe one performance or um, something like that. So I never, I went through the whole rehearsal process, and then I was gone for, a week or something. So I missed it all. But then I was in a few plays in high school and in college, and then mostly playing music, actually, for pit orchestras. And then I was in a few plays here in Northfield at the Guild. And finally, I really decided I wanted to direct. And so I think the first thing I directed was Importance of Being Earnest here. And I'm not even sure what year that was.
That's funny because I was just talking about in my theater news how the Guild is doing a Purple Door Youth Theater production of the importance of being earnest in a pandemic. So they could maybe use your advice. But
Right.
Right.
That's right.
great. So how did you get from there, being cast as Fezziwig but getting chicken pox, to where you are now?
That's a very good question. I've always liked theater, and I've loved going to theater. But maybe some stage fright, and so I never really thought I was that good on stage, so I just would not do that very much, but I was very interested in it, and I loved helping out at the Guild if I could in different ways, and I love going and supporting theater in the cities or here in town. And then I took a sabbatical, and I had always gone to theater in Russia, but I hadn't ever studied it. And so I decided to spend my sabbatical year researching contemporary theater in Russia. And that got me even more excited about theater. And so then I started working on writing, and then interested in directing as well. So that really changed my whole focus.
How is Russian contemporary theater different from American contemporary theater?
American theater is very respectful of the text. And I would say that Russian is very respectful of the text, but they don't worry about being sued by the author for changing something up or giving a new interpretation or playing around with it. So to give you an idea, there's a very famous production of Midsummer Night's Dream, which I've seen 3 or 4 times. And it starts off, it's done in promenades, so throughout a whole big theater. So first act, you're sitting, and there's a greenhouse that's kind of an old dilapidated greenhouse, and you're on both sides of the play watching what's happening inside the greenhouse.
Cool.
And then the next one, you go to a school room in a different room, and then you go to a psychologist's office, and then you go back to this greenhouse. And so what they did was they took Midsummer Night's Dream and they positioned everything in it so that it's kind of divided up by the gods and the workers and the young kids and the rulers. And so they're keep very much to the text for the first part, then they start really switching it off when it's just the young kids, and it takes place in a high school, and all the kids trying to figure out who likes whom and why, and they condense that part, and then you get to the rulers arguing, and they abandon Shakespeare's text entirely, and they do a marriage therapy session of kind of this abusive marriage and people trying to figure out how to get together, and they actually split up the characters into 2 versions of them, one in which they get back together and the other one in which they're kind of irreconcilable.
Wow.
And then you come back together for the end of the play, and they go back to the Shakespeare text and the play within the play, and everything becomes right again.
Wow.
And it's just a beautiful production, and really makes you look at everything with new eyes. And
Sounds
they
like
do that a lot with Chekhov too, which if we do Chekhov, he's very realistic, but they're not necessarily.
good to know. That's interesting. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, and Mark, I do want to ask you, what spurred you to study Russian theater and to go to Russia? Because I know one time you went to Russia and you saw like 31 plays in 30 days. It might have been even more than that. But
Well, I teach Russian, and my focus originally was Russian literature and then Russian film. And then again, when I got this sabbatical, I decided to study Russian theater, and that's been my focus ever since. And so once I had started doing that, I thought, this theater is just really amazing. I wish other people could see it. So I've started taking student groups for a January term. And so we'll go over there and we'll spend 25 days there and see 21 or 22 performances each time we go. And meet with directors and playwrights and actors, and find out, what's the theatrical life like. It's exceptionally rich and very exciting. Every play is just really, and people go to the theater. So I almost never go to a theater where it's not full in Russia. And Moscow has about 400 stages, and everything is in repertory. So it's a different show each night in each theater. And so there's just this astounding amount of theater that you can see, and everything. I mean, you can find some rather very realistic plays, oftentimes still done very well, but very traditional, which most American theater goers would recognize with no problem. But then you find these other kinds of theater that are just very innovative and really make you stretch your ideas of what's possible on the stage.
wow.
Wow.
And
We could learn from them.
I know. Wow. I myself want to go to Russia now to see what's
Okay, maybe we'll have a guild field trip.
nice. There we go.
You get lights for that one.
Yeah. That's not mine too.
I
But,
want to go too.
There it is. All right. And so briefly, I want to touch on your different kind of perspective of directing, because as Pauline said, you direct these different types of shows. So how do you engulf yourself in those different arenas or genres, rather?
Well, I tend to obsess a bit when I'm directing, and so I like to work on them for 6 to 8 to 12 months beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them so for like Death of a Salesman, that's one that I pitched to the Guild because I had decided that I came up with what I thought was kind of a unique new way to approach that text, using a lot of things or ideas or approaches that I'd seen in Russia. And then the Odyssey was one that was already on. Both the Odyssey and Lend Me a Tenor were both ones that had been chosen by the theater committee. And so they just put out a call for directors, and I think at my advanced age, I am more interested in finding shows that are very interesting to me. And so the Odyssey was definitely a challenge because we had 18 to 20 cast members performing 70 characters over 20 years or whatever, on a very, very small stage. And so it was a challenge, and so I really appreciated the challenge. And then it was an exhausting challenge, I will say. And so then I was looking for something that was completely different for the next time I directed. And I always like to work on skill set for myself. And I love farces, but I've never directed one. So I decided to put my hat in the ring for Lend Me a Tenor. And because farces are all about timing and making sure that you keep the pace going, and which I'm very interested in pace all the time, but it's a different animal when it's a farce and you don't have all of the kind of character development that you might have in other plays. It just has its own set of rules, and I wanted to work on that and learn from that.
And I've seen you direct and everything, so I know kind of how you have your mind on a certain action or a certain way that the character should say something, and every little thing that you do adds up to make it more enjoyable. And so thank you for doing that. All right, well, thank you for answering those questions, Mark. It was really interesting to hear about your experiences in Russia and experiences as a director. And quickly, before I hand this over to Pauline, I do want to ask you, are you a fan of the holidays?
I am so a fan of the holidays.
Nice.
And
Right
this
answer.
year especially, we all need a little cheer. So we've been decorating our house more than we have for years. And just because it helps us get through it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the right answer. All right, Pauline, your turn to
I
head
have
up.
to say, thank you, Cosmo. I have to say, I've been really yearning to sing Christmas songs. It just like I want to.
I'll listen to anything you sing, Pauline.
Oh, thank you.
Me too.
Okay, just for saying that, you're going to get my Christmas album. Cosmo, I just dropped off a copy today.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, Pauline. I can't wait to listen to it.
Thank you, Cosmo. All right. So first of all, we should have started this before you started talking, because this is what we do when we warm up for a show, is we do tongue twisters. I want to hear your favorite tongue twist. See, tongue twister.
Well, my favorite ones are actually in Russian.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yeah.
So I like or ехал грека через реку, видел греки фреки, рак сунул греки фреки, руку ракса, руку грекеца.
What does that mean?
Let's put that applause sound effect in there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
The trouble is that once you translate them, they're not interesting at all, because they're not at all a tongue twister. But first one is from the pounding of the hooves of the horses, dust is flying along the field or something. And then the other one is about some Greek guy crossing a river and sticks his hand into a river, and lobster grabs onto it and bites
great.
it, pinches him.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Oh,
My favorite English one is, it's not one that you do on stage much because it's so short, but it's just the word Peggy Babcock. And
Peggy
saying
Babcock?
Yeah, say it 3 times fast.
Peggy Babcock. Yeah, Peggy Bag.
Peggy Babcock.
You got me. Peggy. Okay.
Babcock.
Center. Peggy Babcock. Peggy Babcock. Peggy Babcock.
Peggy
Very
Babcock. There we go. Okay. Nice.
Okay. So
Much harder than it would seem.
all of you at home, try that 3
Yeah.
times. All right. So now I want to know, because we got to keep the humor going here. What is the best save or the worst failure because of a mistake on stage for any show that you've directed or been in?
Oh, good. The nightmares of forgetting your lines and stuff, I block those out because they just drive me crazy, because 3 seconds of not remembering a line feels like 2 months, and it's so horrible and excruciating. So I don't remember those, but the flubs can be great fun.
Yeah.
During one show, somebody was supposed to run on and say something about Boston. And so he runs on at the last minute, and only one time ever, and in all of the rehearsals or all the performances, just that one time he says, Los Angeles. And it made no sense within the context of the play. And I just found it hilarious. And the person who was talking to him said, "Oh, you mean Boston?" And they just carried on. The other ones I love, and I don't have a specific example, but I've been around when it's happened many times, is when somebody skips ahead for 3 pages. And so it's like, oh no, we've skipped half this scene, and what are we going to do? But I just love watching how people either just go on and complete the scene with no, and so pretty much nobody ever realizes it happens. But even more impressive to me is when they realize, everybody on stage, these 5 people who can't talk about anything amongst themselves, all realize that there's important information for the audience to get in those 3 pages that they skipped. And so then they have to figure out a way to go back and get it all back into the play so that the audience knows what's coming next. And I've been in a few plays, and I've seen a few plays where that happens. And sometimes it's just so masterful of how they can figure out, how to get back around. And generally the audience doesn't have a clue that they've done it. But I think that's part of the magic of theater.
It is. I'm glad that as a director, that it entertains you as opposed to upsetting you.
Generally I like our plays, when I direct, I like the plays to be really well rehearsed. So by the time we even get to Tech Week, they're in really good shape.
Yeah.
So I know that everybody in the play knows their lines and knows what they're doing by the time we get there. So anything that happens is just kind of, so it happens.
And it's always memorable, isn't it?
It is.
Particularly if you're on stage. Oh boy.
Yes.
And the help that you get from your other actors if you freeze. And because sometimes absolutely you go blank and there's just no getting out of it. And you have these other people around you. That's the joy of theater. Beauty of it.
It certainly is.
Yeah. Okay, my last game here is the best or worst audition you've ever seen. Oh, let's go with worst. Whatever. That's more funny.
I think the worst audition I ever saw was somebody who showed up and they'd driven like 2 hours to get to the audition, but they hadn't prepared anything.
Oh.
And it wasn't, we're providing the text for you or anything. It's just like they really wanted to be in this play and they wanted this part, but they didn't bring anything. All of the audition material said prepare a monologue, and did say we'll have some for you to read, but this person was not a very good reader. And so he just kind of took a piece of the paper and just said, thundering with bases, up in the sky, blue. And then he got about halfway through and he just stood staring at, and just staring out and just said, I've had a really hard day. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I thought this would be a lot of fun, and I think I'd probably still like it, but I'm really not in a very good place. And so, I felt so bad for the person. It was a little excruciating, but.
Yes.
Well, I do want to say, person, if you're out there, we love you.
Well, it could have been me. There have been those days where that could have easily been me.
You were actually explaining your own experience. Yeah, we have those bad days and bad audition days, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Cosmo, I'm going to throw it back to you for some more fun.
All right. So, Mark, if you've listened to any of our past curtain calls, you'll know that we like to play this accent dialect game where we give you a saying and then we give you an accent or a dialect to say the phrase with. So, the phrase this time is, Pauline, why don't you give it to us?
I didn't write it down.
Okay, all right.
That makes it easier.
I came up with it, but I wasn't prepared for my audition. This is what happens if you're not prepared. Okay, this is it. I always go to bed hungry on Christmas Eve because I sent my meal out for Santa.
Okay.
Something like that. You can
Now
improvise.
now you're going to learn why I'm a director and not an actor.
Good to hear.
All right.
Something like that.
We're going to do it a little bit holiday themed. So, how about you say it as either the Grinch or Scrooge? I'll let you pick which one.
Oh, okay. I'm not even going to say which one I'm choosing because that way it gives me the benefit of the doubt. And maybe
Don't
people
say
will
we'll
just think I
guess.
did them both wrong. I always go to bed hungry on Christmas Eve because I give my meal out for Santa.
I think
That was Scrooge.
nice.
That was
Awesome. All right.
nicely done.
The next one is how about let's do your own version of Frosty.
Frosty.
Frosty the Snowman.
He was a jolly, happy soul.
I know.
Oh, a director's
I'm
note.
just trying to remember the cartoon so I could remember something about it. Okay, I'm just going to be jolly and happy and cold. So
Brr.
I always go to bed hungry on Christmas Eve because I leave my meal out for Santa.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
All right. Now we're getting into the bonus round,
Oh,
turning
no.
into very, very dangerous deep waters. So this means
Great.
that I will give you a dialect and an age to go with the dialect. Okay, so
All right.
this time, how about we do maybe an 8-year-old Santa Claus?
Wow.
I like to challenge my guests, our guests.
So do I leave my meal out for myself in the change of the space-time continuum, or?
Improvise. Make
Yeah.
it work.
I've got an 8-year-old with a 12 o'clock shadow or whatever. I always leave my meal out. I always go to bed hungry on Christmas Eve because I leave my meal out for myself.
Nice.
That was really good.
That was great. Okay, well, I would feel bad doing this if I didn't have an actual accent to give you. So, how about you do an Russian version of the line?
Okay, that one's a little easier for me for obvious reasons. Let me see. Which Russian accent should I use? I'll use the Hollywood Russian accent.
Awesome.
I always go to bed hungry on Christmas Eve because I leave my meal out for Santa.
Nice.
Awesome. And I see what happens to your mouth. What happens with your mouth with that accent? The mouth posture comes down.
That's right.
Sweet. Oh, nicely
And my
done.
wife always complains when we're in Russia that I turn into a completely different person because all my facial expressions and my gestures and everything are completely different when I'm there.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's something to tap into as an actor, that's for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we have to wrap it up here.
I think we
Unfortunately,
do.
we are out
Well,
of time.
Mark, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for joining us. Really great information and lots of fun games.
It was a
Well,
lot of
I've
fun.
surely
Thank you
enjoyed
so
it.
much.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you all.
You too.
Thanks, Mark. Well, that interview, I think, deserves both lights, if I can get them running here. There we go. Right. There.
I think
Okay.
so too, definitely. Here, we'll just have it flashing the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow, how interesting that was.
Yeah, for sure.
Seriously, to find out, and I think that we have a lot to learn in this country from those Russians, the way that they structure their theater, that it's about culture, not necessarily about money.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
Well, thank you again for doing this with me, Pauline. It's always fun, and I especially like this holiday-themed episode because I like to get into that Christmas cheer.
I do too, and I think maybe all of our shows could be not Christmas themed, but themed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actors after all. I mean,
Well, our next episode is on New Year's Day, so.
Oh my! Wow, we're gonna have to have a lot of bling. That's the word.
Yep. It's saying good riddance to 2020.
Exactly. I'd like to say good riddance as well. And I want to thank you, Cosmo, for being my co-host on Curtain Call. So much fun. And thank you so much to Mark Robinson for being so on board and being so much fun and playing our games with very good humor. So
That's right.
You.
And also thanks to KYMN Radio. And thank you again, Pauline, for doing this. And happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and thank you for tuning in. Take care.
Take care. And remember, all the world's a stage.
It's time for the show. So light up the tree.